Thank you for tuning in to episode 33 of the Frontline Black News. I am your host, Che Nkrumah. I am joined with my other host, Queen Nkrumah. And we are joined with our guest tonight, Shabaka Sankori of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, of which I'm the co-host of, and Ramel Understanding, who was a political prisoner in the Carl State Mental Hospital.
Hey, Frontline Black News for all the crews.
Yes, sir. And we will be discussing the Denver ballot measures. We have an election in November. Denver has a municipal election, and tonight's show will be dedicated to that ballot measures. So this is for the people that actually vote in Denver. If you are in Denver, you have already received your ballot. This is what it looks like. And hopefully you have it filled out. And hopefully tonight, if you don't have it filled out, you will have it filled out by the end of tonight. So the first thing is introduce yourself, Shabaka.
Yeah, greetings. Yeah, this is Shabaka Sankori. I'm the host and executive producer of the podcast, Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, part of Frontline Black News Network. Definitely go to our previous episodes. You could Google them and leave us a comment, of what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, because as we all know, steel sharpens steel to make a diamond in the rough. And then I just want to say briefly, too, before we deal with the Denver municipal election, is that we're still waiting on you damn Biden supporters, and we're yet to hear from you. And I just want to let you all know that when I was back in my home state of California, fucking gas is over $5 a gallon. So fuck Biden and fuck all the motherfuckers that voted for him.
Yes. And we approve the message. Ramel, tell people who you are.
Yeah, my name is Ramel Understanding. Understood. We bring her to the hole without the dope. Official frontline campaign. And I'm just trying to make this. I can't fake it. When the blessings come down, I'm gonna take them. I'm living to learn, so I can learn how to live. That's all I can say.
Alrighty.
Yes, sir, indeed.
Today is Queen Nkrumah, Lady Nkrumah, otherwise known as Seduction Doll for Revolutionary Agenda, or aka Brandy Majors. Either way, you know my name, so it doesn't even matter. Brandy, Seduction Doll, something Nkrumah. What's up, Black Valley? It's going to be a very educational
peace
program.
Do it to you.
To your ballots. It's on the municipal level, and it's something we take it seriously in regards to certain measures that are extremely important to the people. So we're going to go over that tonight, and we're very thankful for both of our guests that remain the crew. You know what I mean? So I was thankful for Brother Shabaka Sankori and Ramel Understanding. Twinsies in the house, so we're gonna get to it. So go ahead, Che.
All right. So the first thing on the ballot is the Denver public schools school race, the board race for at large, and I put my vote in for Scott Esserman. He is a father of DPS students. He's been doing this work for like 20 plus years. He got endorsed by the Denver Teachers Association, and several other organizations and community members have also endorsed him. He's a white guy, but he did a lot of work with Manual after Manual got shut down. For those that don't know, Manual High School got shut down for a number of years, and it just recently opened back up. And Scott Esserman was behind the reopening, and he helped with all that, along with Tate Anderson, Director Tate Anderson, who was a student at Manual at the time. Now he's a director on the Denver School Board. So we here on Frontline Black News are supporting Scott Esserman for director at large. There's several other people on the ballot. I don't even know if I should even bother mentioning their names, but we put our vote in for Scott Esserman. So that's who we're supporting. But just in case you're curious, we got Marla Navides, Jane Shirley, Nikki Urick, and Vernon Jones Jr. So I know who Vernon is. He's a preacher, pastor, whatever. But I'm not supporting him. I'm supporting Scott Esserman. And for District 4, which is the district I live in, we have 4 people running. Michelle Quaterbon, I don't know her. I've seen her a few times on Brother Jeff's show, but besides that, I don't know who that lady is. Mosley, I don't know who that is. And Jose Silva, I know who that is, and he's definitely not getting my vote. So I'm supporting Gene Fashaw for District 4. This is him right here.
Yeah, we like Gene. Gene's tight.
He is I'm gonna read a little bit about him. He is a husband and a parent of DPS students, and he understands and shares their concerns or our concerns about our kids and our schools. As an Afro-Latino educator, Gene is committed to being a role model and fighting stereotypes to inspire kids. Gene is dedicated to helping Denver kids meet their full potential. So he's currently a teacher. He's a coach. He's a Denver native. He's a Montbello native, Bellside. And Gene knows what our kids need to succeed. And I actually endorsed him online. I said basically he will be able to get all our our so-called BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, whatever students, what they need. Because he comes from that background, he knows what it's like. He's a product of DPS, so he knows exactly what the kids will need that are currently in DPS that are Black, mainly Black. I mainly supported him because he supports Black students.
Yes,
Go ahead, babe.
I also support Gene too. He's one of the people that when the critical race theory thing had became such major news, he had I think it was like a little conference.
It was a town hall, yeah.
Town hall, yeah. And he led that, and he did speak on that a lot. Also, whenever it comes to the city, we've been to like an event with him as well. At the gun club.
Yeah, we went to his pop-up event.
Yeah, his little pop-up event. And he's a humble man. He's very nice. He's easy to talk to, and he knows what he wants. And that kind of leadership, it is sad to say that the day we saw him at the pop-up, it didn't have a lot of success, but you could feel the energy and the vibe was there, and the man's got his shit together. So I thoroughly stand behind Che on that. That man is pretty informative. You actually talk to him, so yeah, he got.
Right. So there's a big school board race going on. Like I said, I'm in District 4. There's like 6 districts or something in DPS, and they have people running in each one of them. So I'm focused on District 4 because that's the district that I live in, and I'm casting my vote for Gene Fashaw. The next thing is the statewide amendments and propositions. So the first one is Amendment 78. So the ballot language says, shall there be an amendment to the Colorado Constitution and a change to the Colorado Revised Statutes concerning money that the state receives and in connection there within, requiring all money received by the state, including money provided to the state for a particular purpose known as custodial money, be the subject of appropriation by the General Assembly after a public hearing, repealing the authority to disperse money from the state treasury by any other means, requiring all custodial money to be deposited into the newly created Custodial Funds Transparency Fund, and the earnings on those deposits to be transferred to the general fund, and allowing the state to retain and spend all custodial money and earnings and revenue on that custodial money as a voter approved revenue change. So in layman's terms, because they use this real broad, ambiguous language. So here on Frontline Black News, we're gonna interpret this for you and let you know exactly what it is they're talking about. So Amendment 78 would change how the state authorizes spending of custodial funds. So these changes would require custodial funds to be allocated to the state by the state General Assembly only through the process that includes a public hearing. All custodial funds would go into a centralized account with interest from the account flowing into the state's general fund. And examples of the custodial funds are federal emergency funds, such as COVID relief, flood and wildlife relief, legal settlements, opiate settlement funds, federal transportation funding, gifts and donations, and federal grants to state agencies. So, to make a long story short, if this passes, Black family, it will delay how the funds are dispersed. So, if the state wants federal funds, such as emergency funds, such as COVID relief or flood or some kind of natural disaster happens and they need to have funding for that, they would have to go through this process in order to get approved. So this would delay the time it takes to get the funding. So we're a no on this. Did you have anything to add, babe?
No, I'm in agreement. I'm only in agreement because it just the language, all the language I'm is very deceptive, and you gotta listen to it from a whole bunch of different perspectives to interpret it. So everything is written to. I feel like everything on the ballot is written to confuse you and to have you make the wrong mistake. So we here at Frontline Black News in our homes in our homes. I treat this like my second home, so we've been taking this very seriously. Knowledge is key, research is everything. So we've been like listening to different perspectives as well as reading. I'm gonna say that this ballot and this book that came with it all range to be deceptive, and I would say a lot leading into the democratic thought process. It's just ugly. It's all stupid, really. So you have to really have somebody who knows the language to really sit down and explain it with me. So I got an understanding now. I'm in agreement.
So yeah, no on 78.
On 78.
Next is 19.
Now, okay, if I may interject.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Based on what you was telling me right there, that sounds like that double speak bullshit they do in California too, where they got it all ambiguous.
Yeah.
And then ever who the motherfucker is that's backing it or has got his hands in it is usually that they're manipulating it, for some of their own self-interest in a way. And that is just my experience, of dealing with issues in California at the state level, at the county level, and at the local level as well too. And then too, when it comes to our unhoused neighbors or low-income people, they always got some twist in it. You see, they will sell the shit, for it to get voted on, but then if it becomes law or it's approved, then they got all these twists in it, all these delays in it, and all that double speak shit. So, and that sounds very, very similar, to the state of California, the city of Oakland, what it does at its local political level as well too, and quite naturally that raggedy ass place called Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, these amendments, like Amendment 78, is for the whole state.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
Mhm.
to the city initiative soon enough.
Okay.
City initiatives are just fuck.
The city initiatives are even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, more ambiguity. Yeah.
Yes. So, Proposition 119 is this tax on marijuana to supposedly go toward fund tutoring for low income students. Now,
Okay.
in 2012, we had an Amendment 64. I voted on it, and the money was supposed to be going toward infrastructure for the schools, right?
Yes.
We still to this day don't know where that money went.
Damn. Did they audited the money?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. They always have
Okay, that
some sort
sounds.
of for it, and it's never in alignment with what they initially told the voters they wanted to do with this tax money. You know what I mean? And now they're referring it to tutoring,
Yeah, tutoring for kids.
tutoring for children. Well, what happened to the other shit? You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I mean by that ambiguity.
Yeah, this is that kind of shit that makes a motherfucker like me not want to vote because I didn't want to get behind the lies and the nonsense, especially when I could hear it and it's all deceptive. It's like they just sell you whatever they want to sell you just to get the vote, Black Ballot.
Right. So,
Word.
amendment is a change to the Colorado State Constitution. A proposition proposes a change to the Colorado Revised Statutes. So, this one is a change to the Colorado Revised Statutes, and what they want to do is shall state taxes be increased to $137,600 annually on retail marijuana sales by a change to the Colorado Revised Statutes concerning the creation of a program to provide out-of-school learning opportunities for Colorado children ages 5 to 17, and in connection therewith, creating an independent state agency to administer program out-of-state learning opportunities chosen by parents, funding the program by increasing the retail marijuana sales tax by 5% by 2024, and reallocating the portion of the public school lands income, authorizing transfers in revenue for program funding as a voter-approved revenue change, specifying that learning opportunities include tutoring, extra instruction in subjects, including reading, math, science, writing, art, targeting support for children with special needs and learning disabilities, career and technical education training, and other academic and enrichment opportunities, and prioritizing program financial aid for low income students. So that's how it reads. It sounds good on the surface, but I don't trust it. So
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
sounds like they got too many twists in there.
yeah,
And it's not from the previous one. Go ahead, Ramel. We're listening.
Nah, I ain't really got much to say. I'm just hearing all this shit.
yeah,
I'm
man,
just
it's
like,
confusing,
damn,
right?
you know, these people, they come with this wording, they come with all this bullshit. I mean, even if the wording sounded right, in theory, it's like, there got to be a curveball to the shit. I mean, I don't trust
No,
none of these
hell
motherfuckers
yeah.
too, man. Jesse Paris gets hit there, man. I don't trust Nathan.
Right.
That's just Jeffrey Washington State in Kuma, one of us ran in them offices. I don't trust them motherfuckers at all.
Right.
They're not to be trusted.
No, not at all.
No. So we're definitely a big no on this. We don't know for sure this money is going to be going toward that. They want to tax marijuana. They already taxed marijuana already.
Right.
So it's supposed to be like 5 cents to every $10 you spend.
Wow.
They're trying to.
That sounds like California.
Yeah.
Because I can go down here in the state. Yeah, because like I was saying earlier, not getting off subject, Brother Che, but just the twist on these taxes or these revenue statutes is that you can go into Stanislaus County and get a certain grade of reefer, let's say eighth, right? It'll cost you $22. You go over to the goddamn city of San Francisco, the exact same shit, the exact same weight, and these motherfuckers gonna want to charge you $45.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, see, that's that. Yeah. See, weighing the same because in California, when it comes to the revenues, it gives the counties a lot of leeway of how much they want to charge for their tax. Now, in California, what you're doing, you're paying a goddamn sales tax to the state, right? You're paying a motherfucking marijuana tax, right? So that's 2 taxes by the goddamn state, right? Then whatever with the county or the city of where you get it at wants to charge you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, what it is these motherfuckers is in cahoots with each other at the state level, at the county level, and at the municipal level.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You see, they doing these let's make a deal initiatives as opposed to having a general interest of the people at heart. And this is what, based on what you're telling me there, what they're doing in the Centennial state of Colorado, the same tactic as they do in this raggedy ass used to be Golden State.
Yeah. Yep. You're right about that.
And like I said, all these motherfuckers know each other. You know what I'm saying? The crews know each other in Sacramento that know the ones in Denver. And the same thing at the municipal level, the same thing at the state level, same thing at the county level. You see what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
And what is an indicator of this is how at the local level, at the county level, and at the state level of how a lot of California and Colorado's laws are very, very similar.
Yep. Let's move forward because this is a crazy ballots right here. So
yes, ma'am.
We got a lot to cover. So the next one is Proposition 120. And that one is supposed to reduce property taxes on the surface.
People got houses and they are not digging this one.
So it says, shall there be a change to the Colorado revised statutes concerning property tax reductions and or connection therewith? There's that therewith again. Reducing property tax revenue by an estimated $1.03 billion in 2023 and by comparable amounts thereafter by reducing the residential property tax assessment rate from 7.15% to 6.5% and reducing the property tax assessment for all other property excluding producing mines and lands or landlords or leaseholds producing oil or gas from 29% to 26.4% and allowing the state to annually retain and spend up to $25 million of excess state revenue, if any, for the state fiscal years of 2022 through 2023 through 2026 to 2027 as a voter approved revenue change to offset lost revenue resulting from the property tax reductions and reimburse local governments for revenue loss due to the homestead exemptions for qualifying seniors and disabled veterans. So once again, Black family, confusing language, and what it boils down to is your property tax is determined by your property value, so the value of your house, times the assessment rate, which is set by the state. So each individual state has their own assessment rate by property category, i.e., residential or commercial, times the mill levy, which is established, which is a tax rate, which is established at the local district level. So every local county or district has their own mill levy tax rate. So what that boils down to is it's an equation that equals what your property tax for the month is going to be, right? But this proposition only pertains to multifamily properties and lodging properties. So it permanently changes the assessment rate for these properties. So this past legislative session, the legislature, which is mainly Democrats, voted the rate from 7.15% to 6.8 for 2022 and 2023. But it only includes, so the state legislature, before this proposition was even put on the ballot, had already voted to lower the tax rate. So this is in addition to what has already been voted on and approved. So it only pertains to multifamily properties and lodging properties, so duplexes, triplexes of 4 or more units, not condos. And it lowers the rate from 6.8 to 6.5%. And lodging properties such as hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, it lowers the assessment rate from 29% to 26.4%. So Proposition 120 assessment rate cuts become permanent if this passes. And Proposition 120 will not change senior and veterans homestead program. So I'm in favor of lowering the property taxes. The property taxes have increased dramatically over the years, and that's the reason why they've been able to gentrify a lot of our communities. Because if you can't pay the property tax, you get a tax lien,
right,
and you'll lose your house. So
right.
I support 120 because I want the property tax lower, but I wish it applied to more properties besides multifamily properties and lodging properties.
Okay, I got a question, General.
Go ahead, Shabaka.
Okay, does this here affect commercial property as well, too?
No.
I knew it.
It only affects multifamily and lodging properties.
My thing is, family that owns or is in the home buying process, still they do pay property taxes, and the property taxes in Denver, especially in Montmello, have went up. They don't like it. They don't want to see them keep to raise, and they're trying to support families, teenage children through college. So it is a big problem. So we want to see it lower. Property I was looking at just a few years ago, the property tax was $1,000 just per year, and if they didn't pay it, I mean, they would get tax liens and whatnot, and it's ridiculous. It's only once a year, but that once a year to come up with that $1,000+ for your property
once a year,
is a tremendous weight, especially during the pandemic and the moratorium here in the city.
Yeah. So
Right.
with all that said, we support 120. So we're a yes on 120. Again, this is a statewide proposition. Now we're gonna go into the city of Denver propositions or bond packages.
Oh, that's
So
what shit's gonna get heavy.
our damn mayor, he wanted to be slick and pass a bond package of like 500 million, almost 500 million, or excuse me, 500 billion, and he wants to do it via the voters. So we got to have voter approval to pass this bond package. So the next, well, everything else from here on is going to be about that. So first one we have is 2A. And 2A, I'm not going to read all of it because it's just too much to read. But 2A basically is going to increase the debt from increased debt of 104 million 40,000 with an expected increase in the city's current rate of taxation for general obligation debt service based on the city's projected assessed value. The proceeds, therefore, are to be used for repairs and improvements to the Denver's facility system, which may include but not be limited to critical infrastructure improvements and other facility repairs at Denver Botanical Gardens, Bonfils Theater Complex, that's the Performing Arts Complex, Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and the Denver Zoo. And there's other properties that want to repair as well. So this one seems like a no-brainer. I'm going to be a yes on it. Have repairs done to these facilities. So I support this bond package. This one. Now, the next one I do not support at all, and that is Measure 2B.
Want to read it? I'll read fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Measure 2B. Shall the city of Denver debt be increased by 38,600,000 with a maximum repayment of 66,476,000 with no expected increase in the city current rate of taxation for general obligation debt service based on the city's projected assessed value. The proceeds thereof to be for repair and improvements to the Denver housing and sheltering system, which may include but are not limited to establishing and or improving shelters and facilities to provide services to people experiencing homelessness by purchasing buildings, converting buildings, and or constructing facilities by the insurance of payment of general obligation bonds, notes, loans, agreements of other multiple fiscal year financial obligations which shall be issued or incurred in such manner and containing such terms may determine the expenditure of the proceeds thereof to be publicly reported by the city or on an annual basis, and shall city and Valorum property taxes be increased without limitation as to rate, but by not more than the maximum amount of 8,945,000 annually, an amount sufficient to pay the principal or premium, if any, and interest of such fiscal obligations and to create a reserve for the same. And shall the city be authorized to issue financial obligations to refund or refinance such financial obligations authorized in question, provided that such refunding financial obligations, when combined with other outstanding financial obligations authorized in the question, do not exceed the maximum principal limits or repayment costs of authorized by this question. It's like a roundabout fucking circular fucking question.
Yeah, it is.
It's really stupid. Like,
so they want to basically create more shelters for already failing shelter system. So
which they just got 10 million for
they just got
CCH.
10 million for CCH. one of the service providers here in Colorado.
That is an utter failure.
In the city of Denver, and it's a failure. So they want to put more money toward the already failing system. So we're definitely a no on this.
Definitely.
Right.
They've
And then you
already
need
spent
to
on homelessness in the city and county of Denver,
And there's still homelessness. Clearly. Clearly.
and we've already determined that majority of our unhoused neighbors do not want to go to no damn shelter.
right.
No.
No, what they
And
need
they
is just like no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
refuse to put people in motel rooms that will wrap around into transitional housing like how I was placed in. They only offer homeless people just one night in a hotel room or I can't remember the word that was used, but a non-shelter option, and that's just clearly fucking um, inhumane. Nobody wants to go to a shelter. Like I was saying earlier in one of my previous programs, that men get raped there too. They get robbed. They get harassed. Women get harassed. Women get bullied. There's no safety around that, and not only that, but you got the COVID and its three variants running rampant in all those shelters. Not to mention, there's a lot of police presence near and about, and there's a lot of propaganda that goes with it. So it's just gonna have to be a no from us here at home.
Yeah, it's a no on 2B.
hmm Yeah, and then also too, like with these shelters, okay, with this scandemic, plandemic, jabdemic, or what the fuck epidemic it is, it seems to me that those goddamn politicians at the local level would be taking some salary cuts, so therefore, so the people can go into their own individual rooms, uh, at a hotel or a motel.
No, they voted to give themselves a raise. They ain't taking no salary cuts.
They don't care. Nobody cares
Wow.
about this being a humanitarian issue. I mean, this is being a human issue, and there's a lot going on that I would love to elaborate, but not tonight. We're gonna wait till possibly your show on Tuesday, or definitely
hmm
mine and Ramel on Thursday, to elaborate about
Okay.
this homeless encampment enforcement team and all this stuff that I was trying to talk about on Thursday, but I ran out of available time because I had to do a class. But either your show or our mine and Ramel show on Thursday is gonna really dig
Okay.
deep into the situation, plus some other topics that uh, General Ramel.
Ramel, did you have anything to say on 2B?
Uh, it's just sad that people are going through all that homelessness, man, and people are taking advantage of them, and it's just sad condition that people are in.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I want to say.
Okay. Next one is 2D, or excuse me, 2C, and that is Denver Transportation and Mobility System Bond.
Okay, yeah. Shall the city and county of Denver debt be increased by 63,320 with a maximum repayment cost of 109,000 uh 40 109,048,000 with no expected increase in the city's current rate of taxation for general obligation debt service based on the city's projected assessed value. The proceeds thereof to be used for the repairs and improvements to the Denver transportation and mobility system, which may include but are not limited to expanding Denver sidewalks networks by filling sidewalk coverage gaps and improving bicycle safety and mobility by renovating existing bike lanes and creating new projected bike lanes and neighborhood bikeway lanes, and improving pedestrian and bicycle safety by installing enhanced crosswalks, adding medians, improved and installing new traffic signals, and other mobility infrastructure improvements. Reconstruction sections of Morrison Road corridor to create a cultural and arts district and creating a segment of an urban trail of pedestrian walkway in downtown Denver. By the insurance and payment of the general obligation bonds, notes, loans, agreements, or other multiple fiscal year financial obligations which shall be issued or incurred in such manner and containing such terms not inconsistent herewithin as the city may determine the expenditure of the proceeds therefore to be publicly reported by the city on an annual basis, and shall city or valorium property taxes be increased without limitation as to rate, but by no more than a maximum amount of 11,716 annually, an amount sufficient to pay the principal or premium, if any, in interest of such financial obligations are to create the reserve for same, and shall the city be authorized to ensure financial obligations to refund or refinance such financial obligations authorized in this question, provided that such refunding financial obligations, when combined with other outstanding financial obligations as authorized in this question, do not exceed the maximum principal limits or repayment cost authorized by this question. Again, same language, same situation. Although I will say on my end, I agree. I support it because I'm always driving around in the power chair. The streets are fucked. The sidewalk shit. You can't even drive your chair or walk correctly on the sidewalk. And we're not talking about because the homeless have little encampments. We're talking about in general. I like and not only that, but the crosswalks. I got pegged in the street at a crosswalk. Okay, and there was no safety plan for me. So with that being said, I'm in support of this being that they redo the motherfucking streets because the streets are broken, cracked, fucked up. The sidewalks are fucked up. They got cobblestones in certain areas and dents. There's some lifting of sidewalks. Like
Some neighborhoods don't even have
some
sidewalks.
neighborhoods don't even have sidewalks. There's an area where I like to patrol, and the whole block is all grass and no sidewalk. It's just the people's property is just leading to the street, and the curve is like 2.5 inches up, so you can't even if you got a power chair like mine. I got a superb one until I busted my tire yesterday, but I can get up on the sidewalk on certain sidewalks, but other ones I cannot. And I've shown this many times on Frontline Black News when I'm on patrol or I'm filming something about how shitty the streets are in Denver and how dangerous they are. And I have crashed my chair what many times?
Yeah.
This bitch, man. I'm sorry, Belly. I've crashed my car. I've crashed my chair. I've fallen out. I've hurt myself severely. I've been hit in the street. At a crosswalk. When I had the right light, um, it's dangerous, and they do need to fix it. So I'm in support of this ballot, this
Yeah, I'm
measure.
supporting it too. I just hope they don't put bike lanes on very busy streets because people
Right,
are gonna get hit.
right, exactly.
Right.
Or Simone.
Forest Road is like a very controversial street right now with all the traffic. There's like endless amounts of traffic right there, and I remember back in the day when there used to be the two clubs right there at night.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers were getting hit constantly coming out the parking lot.
Shabaka Ramel Dots.
Yes, sir. Is that because due to the weather situation in Denver, which causes the sidewalks to bust up, to crack, and what have you? Because I've seen the same effect in the city of Chicago with the aftermath of the snow effect. So it seems to me that Mayor Hancoon and his cronies and whatnot, they should have a special task force every 6 months of going out there repairing those cracked sidewalks, man, after each winter.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is, uh, you take some of that damn money where they buying them hookers at and they dope and having they parties and all that old type of shit, and fix the goddamn streets to make them safe. There is because I remember I was in Denver, Colorado, one winter walking down the street, slipped. You know what I mean? And just like what Sister was saying, that there was a hole, in the ground that caused the slip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
see, so with you all being in a snow environment, it seems to me they ought to be taking extra added precautions with that. Just like in the city of Denver, that you got to shovel the snow from in front of your property and off your sidewalk and what have you. Then what they need to do is take that money that they writing them bullshit, bogus ass tickets on and repair the goddamn sidewalks for the winter. So when people are special needs or in special situations, they won't be putting themselves at even more risk. But a motherfucker like Cancun, y'all need to recall that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I drive in the street. I mean, motherfuckers know me here all over the city, and they know that they see me cruising in the bike lane. I'm driving in the street, or I'm driving on sidewalks that I know are good. Even like on the way home, sometimes from on the way from Jesse's to my apartment, I have a specific route. And if I'm just listening to music, I'm not paying attention. There's one ledge that I'll drive right over, and my chair will drop me like a whole foot. Seems like, and I'll be like, oh, and I'll feel it like like I knocked the wind out of myself. And I'm always like, goddamn city of Aurora, because I'm coming from Denver to Aurora, and I would be like that, man. This shit is fucked up. They'll see me driving in the street. I'll be in the bike lane, and there was a time at one point where people would honk at me, or the police would come up and roll up on me, and I point to the sidewalk. But one motherfucker pulled me over one time, and I was like, "Say, why are you driving in the street?" I said, "Well, you get in my chair and you drive that sidewalk, and you see how uncomfortable that is, especially for someone that like me. Like you shake me too much, you disrupt the internal intent of my body. I can't breathe sometimes if I get shook up, like my lungs. You know what I mean? So I don't like that shit. And the streets are very, 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 very fucking dangerous, man.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I mean, I recently forgot that you have to drive for the idiots in the road. You gotta drive for the other people.
You got a lot of idiots out there.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are reckless. Then they get
Oh yeah,
mad
like
when
they got their driver's license out of a damn Cracker Jack box or something.
exactly.
Yep.
Or went and bought some hooks somewhere, went and bought a fake ass driver's license somewhere.
Yeah. So
they throw shit in the street, and that's how I be busting my tires. I busted my tires. The second one I busted in like a year?
Yeah.
Second one.
Okay, well, sister, don't you get some type of subsidy for that?
Yeah. What's that?
If you don't, you should.
Yeah. No. I got insurance for the chair, but because I got in that accident when the man drugged me, my chair did get damage, and it didn't start to show itself like it didn't like with me. At first I didn't think I was that hurt until after a couple of days, and then I started to see that the chair was making all kinds of creaking sounds, and it's really awkward to drive right now. It's loose in places, and it's only been since the 6th, but there was a whole time I took like a week off where I didn't go nowhere. Remember?
Yeah.
I was like in my house. I was sick. We filmed from there. It was ridiculous. But now tomorrow, I'm sorry, Monday, I'm taking it in and getting it handled because it's dangerous. And I be constantly, when I be making my videos, I be telling people, don't throw shit in the street. Don't throw broken bottles, and stop throwing your fucking junk in the street, because at night when it's dark, we don't really see nails and glass. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you throw that shit'll bust your tires.
Yeah.
And I catch somebody doing it, I'm like, I'm liable to yell at them and be like, you could throw that shit in the trash.
Or
You don't
leaving
have to
shopping
do it.
carts and shit in the middle
Yeah,
of the
then
street.
leaving shopping carts. I done
Or in the
fell.
sidewalk.
Yep, I done fell over trying to push a cart out of the way on the sidewalk because I have to be mindful too. Some days I think I'm impervious to the law, but there has to be a time where I have to really be logical.
Or
And
those goddamn scooters.
I think about the scooters, the motherfucking construction workers leaving signs in the middle of the sidewalk when there's no construction going on the sidewalk. That shit is ridiculous. It's like it's like they don't understand that those people that are fucking disabled. What about fucking if I'm not disabled? You got children and people walking with their baby carriers or dogs and shit like that, and they can get hurt. Even animals. I don't like white people sometimes, and they be doing a lot of shit, but they be walking with their motherfucking dogs and shit, and their dogs are stepping on glass. bolts, nails, you know what I mean? Just random wood pieces. I mean, you gotta think about it like that too. Okay, fuck you don't like me or whatever, but think about the other people that are out there that do use the sidewalks. Old people,
Right.
old people are naturally clumsy nowadays.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, real talk.
And it seemed to me, like I was saying, with you guys being in that wintry environment, is that hand coon and some of them crooked motherfuckers there on the city council, they ought to be having a special fund set aside. So when spring gets there or early summer, you go out there and start busting up that old shit and laying down some fresh sidewalks.
Yep.
Because I see that over there in Panthertown, they took $8 billion and they had totally built the whole walk around Lake Merritt. And it took them like about 5 or 6 years, to do it. But it was a multi-billion-dollar project, and them sidewalks are much, much better. They're much, much safer, for everybody. And I think Cat Brooks might have had something to do with that. And more power to Cat Brooks in Oakland of the great work that she does.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next one.
2D.
Mm-hmm.
Same language. Okay. Shall the city and county of Denver debt be increased by 54,070,000 with a maximum repayment of 91. Jesus, how does it go for that? 93,118,000 with no expected increase in the city's current rate taxation for general obligation debt services based on the city's projected assessed value. The proceeds thereof to be used for repairs and improvements to the Denver parks and recreation, which may include but are not limited to the development and construction of the 2 new parks in the Northeast Denver and South Denver, respectively, and improvements at parks including replacing playgrounds and recreation equipment, replacing and restoring athletic fields and courts, and critical infrastructure improvements including renovating and building restrooms and rebuilding the swimming pool at Mestizo Curtis Park by the insurance and repayment of general obligation bonds, notes, loans, agreements, or any other multiple fiscal year obligations which shall be issued or incurred in such manners and containing such terms not inconsistent uh, hereof, as the city may determine the expenditure of the proceeds thereof to be publicly reported by the city or an annual basis, and shall city ad valorem property taxes be increased without limitations to rate, but not by more than a maximum amount of 10,500,000 annually, an amount sufficient to pay the principal or premium, if any, and interest of such financial obligations, or to create a reserve for the same. Then shall city be authorized to issue financial obligation to defund and refinance such financial obligations authorized in this question, providing that such defund of financial obligations which combined with other outstanding financial obligations not exceed the maximum principal limit of repayment costs authorized by this PUD. Maybe it's Curtis Park.
Yeah. So this is to repair the Mestizo Curtis Park, which used to be in a predominantly black area of
Yep.
town before all the gentrification
Mm-hmm.
and the other parks. We have a lot of parks here in Colorado, as you're aware, Shabaka. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Mayor Spear. Um, so we're in favor of this.
It changed to bring up the game. Copyright is a good.
We're in favor of this. So this one's an easy one. Easy yes on. They need to repair these parks. A lot of parks don't even have portable restrooms or nothing. So this
Wow.
is parks they need to redo structure on.
My Curtis Park is my home, and I want to see it. I want it better. I want to see it
I
better.
think
But
I'm familiar with Curtis Park. Isn't
Yeah,
Curtis Park, man, is like a real long park, man, and it's got streetways going in both directions on each side?
yeah,
Okay, I think I'm familiar with Curtis Park.
Chris Park is my
there used to
home.
be a housing project across the street from a
Right, exactly.
city.
Big city. Yep.
That was made out
Yeah.
of brick, right?
Yep.
Yep. I want to
Okay,
see
yeah, I am familiar with Curtis Park.
Yeah. So now they want to redo it because all the gentrification,
Uh-huh.
all the moved in. So now they want to redo it.
Yeah, I want to see it better. I just don't want to see the gentrification. It's just, some things I just wish could just remain the same, but can't have it that way, I guess.
Well, see, that's them politicians with them backroom deals and that bullshit.
Yep.
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 So that's what that is. And then that's why I'm all in favor at the municipal level. Is that on the city councils and what do they
Yeah.
call those? The county commissions. Them motherfuckers shouldn't serve no more than one term.
Right.
Word.
Yeah, so therefore you'll get more input out of the community
Yeah.
by them rotating the seats. I mean, like if a cat has got the job for 4 years, then let him step down, let somebody else come and get it. Then that same dude, he could run back 4 years later. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then
12
this way
years.
here, yeah, and this way everybody, will be participating from the community in this local politics as opposed to these career ass politicians making these backroom deals and all that old shit.
Yeah.
And in the city of Los Angeles, yes, Mark Ridley Thomas, I'm talking about your short fat ass.
Okay.
There
We're
we
gonna
go.
move on to the next one.
2E.
Mm-hmm.
State language. Shall the city and county of Denver shall the city and county of Denver debt be increased by 190 million with a maximum repayment cost of 327,212,000 with no expected increase in the city's current rate of taxation for general obligation debt service based on the city's projected assessed value. The proceeds therefore to be used in repair and improvements to the National Western Complex facility systems, which may include but are not limited to construction of multi-use arena for concert, local high school sporting events, rodeo, and other entertainment events, and the National Western Complex, and renovation and the preservation of an historic building at the National Western Complex to create a public market. By the assurance of payment or general obligation bonds, notes, loans, agreements, or any other multiple fiscal year financial obligations which shall be issued or incurred in such manners and in containing such terms not inconsistent there herewith as the city may determine the expenditure of the proceeds, therefore to be publicly reported by the city on an annual basis, and shall city and Velorum property take by increased without limitations as to the rate, but not by more than a maximum amount of 35,155,000 annually in amount sufficient to pay the principal of premium, if any, and interest on such fiscal obligations or to create a reserve for same, and shall the city of be authorized to ensure financial obligations to refund or refinance such financial obligations authorized in this question, providing that such refunding financial obligations, when combined with other outstanding financial obligations authorized in this question, do not exceed the maximum principal limits and repayment costs authorized by this question.
So this one is a bunch of bull.
Bunch of bullshit.
We'll call it a bunch of.
Yeah, and
So
Okay, I
basically,
got a question. Who prepares the ballots there? Is that the city attorney that prepares them?
yes.
All right, need to get rid of his ass too.
Well, the election division approves it and send them out. The ballot language is actually by the lawyers because they have to, they got to do everything by the book.
Okay.
That's why it reads like this, because the terminology is legalese.
Yeah. But
So this was a bunch of bull. Mayor Michael Cancun wants to create a 10,000 person arena in a rapidly gentrified neighborhood known as Glowville. And the residents of the GF Coalition, Glowville area, and Swansea. That's the neighborhoods that are north of I-70.
mm-hmm.
I don't want this. I don't want this at all. The brown people or whatever, the Hispanic population, they do not want this at all. And they've said numerously stated that they do not want this arena. And Michael Cancun wants to put this on the ballot for the whole city to vote on to determine what happens in this neighborhood. So they want to put this damn arena. They keep passing it off like this is a good thing, like it's going to be economic growth and it's going to be economic prosperity and all this other shit. It's a bunch of bull, Black family.
Right.
Vote no on 2E.
Yeah, we're voting no on 2E because it's just more gentrification, and really, ultimately, this is about tourism dollars.
Right.
And on the projected value of what the city is going to be doing in the next few years. Well, what if there is no city? Who is in debt then?
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're using taxpayers' dollars, and the taxpayers think they got a vote, but in all actuality, you don't get a vote on this shit. It's already going through. It's gonna happen.
In other words, that's that cronyism shit.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. They already know what they're gonna do. They've been knowing what they're gonna do. City council shows us that every week.
Mm-hmm. So
Just
yeah,
vote
Mhm.
2E is a bunch of vote no on
And they
2E.
were voting no on that.
The next one is 2F.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, 2F. Okay. The ballot. Where's the start? Right here.
How the word is so weird.
Yeah, 2F is like a
It's that
two-part.
safe and sound one.
2F is the two-part one, right?
Yeah, here it is.
Okay. Shall the voters of the city and county of Denver repeal ordinance? Excuse me, family. Repeal ordinance number 2020-0888, regulating resident care facilities such as elderly residents, people experiencing homelessness by size rather than use, allowing community correction facilities to locate in commercial and mixed-use zoning districts, and removing the buffer from residential zones and schools for such facilities, increasing the number of unrelated adults who can live together in a household from 2 to 5, up to 1 licensed car per adult plus additional vehicle per household. Wow, this is the complicated one, and this is what me and Jesse worked hard on that one night where we was up to like 11 at city council or some shit.
Yep.
And we're the last
With the group
two.
living.
And we're the last two people to speak on city council, I think, that night.
Yep.
So
this is going to basically repeal the group living amendment that was passed in February of this year, which allows up to 5 unrelated adults to live in the same household.
Right.
And the safe and sound people want to repeal that and bring it back to a total of 2 unrelated adults can live in the same household. So we have a house, and this is going to hurt that. So I'm going to read a statement from one of the glossies. See, and it says Measure 2F would reduce affordable housing options in Denver. Vote no on 2F. Denverites are facing skyrocketing housing costs. The last thing we should do is take away our affordable housing options. Why voting no? If the ballot measure passes, it would repeal Denver's group living ordinance, which would have a significant and harmful impact and limit affordable housing options in Denver. All Denver residents, no matter what we look like or where we come from, deserve a safe place to call home. Denver voters should vote no on 2F because we can't afford to take away options for adults to share housing, especially as people are suffering from or are struggling to recover from the pandemic.
Right.
To vote no on 2F, it would take away affordable housing options for all Denverites like teachers, nurses, and grocery store clerks. It would make it illegal to have more than one other roommate, more than two unrelated adults in the house. It would make it harder to live in Denver than any other city in Colorado. It would undo the progress made that helps provide support for the elderly, those with physical and developmental disabilities, and others who need care. So, vote no on 2F. Measure 2F would make the housing crisis worse.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know 2F because I have, like I said, I have it basically would say like two related two or more unrelated adults, meaning, and it doesn't qualify for husband and wife. They basically say they're both unrelated. You know what I mean? Even though the husband, if you're married, that's not part of your biological family, which is it's a lot of motherfucking red tape and bullshit. These are these people that say not in my backyard shit.
Yeah.
And they
safe and sound.
Yeah, they also too are like they fail to acknowledge the fact that some people can't live with their biological family and they have what Ramel would call surrogate family
or
blended families, and there's people that they rent out their homes, they got a whole bunch of roommates, you know what I mean, and not all of them are fucking related. I mean, I barely can tolerate the brother I have right now. You know what I mean? But my friend, for example, my best friend, she probably has like maybe five people in her house, 6 people, but they're all family except for maybe the husband. And then so people go and start calling on them or calling on other people. They're saying this basically limits the people who can live in your house and one vehicle per household.
Yep.
What kind of fucking what kind of country are we living in? This is the type of shit that they want to be able to pull. Like you can't say your cousin or your friend or whatever becomes homeless next week and you have a space in your house. You can't allow them to come in your house because you already have 5 people there, 4 people there. Who the fuck cares? As long as they're not on the street, right?
Yeah.
But everybody fucking cares. Everybody's in everyone's mix. It's like fucking close your doors. You don't want to fucking see it. Go in your house, mind your own motherfucking business. Stop calling on people. Then they don't want the home. They don't want what do you call it? There's these people. These also say the same group don't want halfway houses, shelters, SOS camps with the emergency tent setups behind churches or whatever, placed in their neighborhoods. They want, what do they want? The elderly people. I got fucking family members that take care of their elderly in their home because the residential care facilities, I know I've been in one, like 3 of them, are shit. They will kill your fucking family member. I got my whole half of my calf amputated and a whole bad heartbeat in a motherfucking nursing home. And I tell my bestie, hey man, don't put your mom in there because she's already whatever. But these people could kill her. Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
They don't.
I got a whole fucking MRSA thing going on with my calf, and they had to amputate half of the calf meat off my leg because I was in a nursing home, a dirty one. My mother would say it smelled like pee. Okay, and the next one they put in it there was fucking used syringes in the parking lot. So they don't care. They don't give a fuck. But these people, these white people, it's usually white people, right?
I mean,
Or
safe and sound.
Or very, very old black people that have been there, worked their whole lives. And this is the only property they got. They feel like this is a blight on the community and they want to go ahead and complain. And so the more complaints and the police come out and then the police put in the fucking reports and then this goes on the fucking ballot later.
And the way they were pushing this when they were getting signatures to get it on the ballot in the first place was saying that, oh, this is gonna help those that are unhoused get housed. No.
This is like buyer's remorse.
And the average rent in Denver now is $1,670.
My apartment is $1,400. Yeah. $1,400 in the hood.
That's an increase of 40% over the last 5 years. So definitely vote no. We're voting no on 2F. It will make the housing crisis worse. The median home price is up 29% from last year, and rents have increased over 60% since 2010.
Real talk. What's the next one, baby?
So it's definitely no on 2F. The next one is 2G.
2G.
And that will give teeth to the Office of the Independent Monitor.
Okay, ballot 2G. Shall the charter of the city and county of Denver be amended to allow the Citizen Oversight Board to appoint the independent monitor, with consent of City Council, providing the office of the monitor with independent legal counsel, and establishing employment status of employees.
So basically, this is taking power from the mayor to appoint who's going to be on the Citizen Oversight Board that's responsible for oversight over the police, over DPD. So we're definitely in favor of this. The mayor
Fuck the mayor.
Has way too much power in the city. So it'll leave it up to the city council to decide who's going to be on this board. And they have to go through the city council opposed to the mayor to get on this board.
Look, if Mayor Hancock didn't abuse his power so viciously on a regular basis for the last fucking God knows how many years, I don't think this would even be an ask. But because he abuses his fucking power, he keeps asking for money, and it is unnecessary sometimes. I mean, like, if we're doing the math and we add up all this money that's being asked about and the taxing and all this shit, I mean, it's quite a lot of money.
Right.
Every ballot initiative we just read, it starts off with millions.
Yeah.
And then jumps up by another $30 million at the end of it, with taxes. It's like, fuck, man. You wonder why the fucking city's at the mile high income rate. So if the motherfucker didn't abuse his motherfucking power and actually thought legitimately about some of this shit, I don't think we would be asking for someone to take a little bit of his power and start doing the right shit. Especially when it comes to the police.
Right.
Especially when it comes to the police.
Shabaka, thoughts? Shabaka?
Yeah, I'm here.
What are your thoughts?
Can't hear me? Okay, what was the question again? I kind of like dozed off, y'all. I'm sorry.
We were talking about the Office of the Independent Monitor. We're on 2G now, and it's about filling the future vacancies for the Independent Monitor, having City Council do it opposed to the mayor.
Oh, okay. Then any vacancies on that should be decided by the people.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, take it directly to the voters, man. Bypass the city council. It's because, as you know, the city council are in bed, with special interest groups. You know what I mean? So therefore, this here will give the people more control on such a vital situation.
Well, prior to this, so currently the mayor is the one that appoints the people to the Citizen Oversight Board that's responsible for oversight over the police.
Oh, okay. Then those officials need to be elected, not appointed by the mayor.
Right. So now this amendment or this measure is going to allow the city council opposed to the mayor to decide who's going to be on the board.
Wow. So it sounds like, they need to revitalize and using the initiative process and the ballot measures at the local level to strip the mayor of all his powers, man. And you might need to start electing some commissioners for the various city departments, is because that's what they do in Los Angeles. The mayor of Los Angeles, he's just a figurehead, but the actual power lies in the commissions or the commissioners of each city department. And you need to have those commissioners elected as opposed to appointed, because that's where you get that backdoor cronyism shit. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right, Ramel, did you have anything to say on that? Ramel.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Which one was it where you the day I went to the happy house?
It's hard to hear
What
you.
was that again?
That was 2F.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm just hearing a lot of bullshit on these ballots, man. I'm just
it is.
disappointed.
It is a bunch of bull.
I'm like, man, who the fuck is coming up with this shit? They got a motherfucking
Mayor
Right.
Hancock.
huh?
Mayor Hancock.
Yeah,
It's like,
recall that motherfucker.
You know, because this shit is a fucking joke.
Yeah, it is. So,
No, but
I'm
that's
just-
there. Yeah, but what that is, General Mel, is that there's that double speak and them
Yeah.
spells, man, putting all those ambiguous terms in there. And then even our elder said that any law or statute that is so ambiguous that it cannot be exercised or reasoned out by the common man, then that's not a statute.
right.
That's California versus Huey Newton.
Sure is.
motherfuckers, man.
So,
That's why
Yeah,
we
because
need
they
you
come
and
in, and this is what's wrong, with these career politicians or these politicians, having access to all this money and influence, because they can literally rig, buy, or fix the elections, and particularly on vital services that the general public needs.
right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then another thing what they need to do is when they have these lawsuits against police officers, instead of the taxpayers having to be responsible for his fuck up, then you start seizing his ass with his assets, his house, his retirement plan, his pension fund, stocks, all of that. And I bet you they get some act right about their asses then.
Right.
Because I remember I was over there in the city park circulating initiatives, and some drunk motherfucker comes up to me cussing me out. And like I said, off the air, and I would cuss his ass out in return, and the police would show up and tell me I had the right to do what I was doing. But the last time I did that shit, the damn goon squad came out, the sergeant with 5 cops, and all of them had their nightsticks out, ready to whoop my ass.
So the next one is 2H.
All right. Shall the charter and city and county of Denver be amended to move the general election for the city and county of Denver from the first Tuesday in May of odd numbered years to the first Tuesday in April of odd numbered years, to bring the city and county of Denver into compliance with federal and state laws by mailing June runoff election ballots to military and overseas citizens ballots 45 days before election day.
So get this, Black family.
Yeah.
You know, I'm running for 2023, right?
Yes.
That change when the election is for 2023. Just all of a sudden out the blue. So this is going to move the election, if it passes, this is going to move the election from May 2nd, 2023 to April 25th, or sometime in April of 2023. So it's basically going to take like a month off the campaign. And it's ironic that, you know, do this all of a sudden.
I got a theory on that one there, Brother Jay.
Go ahead.
It sounds like that they moving the mayor's election into when the weather's inclement, so they'll have a low voter turnout.
Yep.
Yeah, so crash that motherfucker there.
This is after I mean, we said a lot of people try to say they were gonna run, or just been consistent with it. I'm gonna read the mayor.
I've been saying that since 2019.
And now this. It's not coincidental.
Oh no, you got that backroom cronyism in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know they probably discuss these type of issues, man, when they're at their dope parties, getting drunk. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. That one stinks.
Talking about who's doing what.
Yeah, exactly. Why they getting wined and dined by developers.
Right. Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna speed this up. The next one is gonna be so this is a no vote, Black family vote no on 2H.
Oh my God, Lord help us. Sweet baby Black Jesus save this one. Seriously.
So the next one is 300. And this should be Ordinance 300.
I'm sorry, Black family. The neighbor is asking for the ass whooping of a lifetime. Shall Denver retail marijuana sales tax be increased by $7 million annually beginning January 1st, 2022, and by whatever additional amounts are raised annually thereafter from a 1.5% retail marijuana sales tax be used to fund pandemic research and for advancement technologies to protect the public from the spread of the pandemic pathogens, including at schools.
Crash that motherfucker. Crash it. That's garbage.
Yeah. Thank you.
The city of Denver crashed that shit. Now, if they want to go research that bullshit, then cut that goddamn mayor's salary and the fucking city council members who will vote for that shit. That's where they'll get the goddamn revenue for that one. Fuck them in that scandemic.
I wanted to wipe my ass with this whole page.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Defund the scamdemic.
Wipe my ass with this whole page right here. This whole page is bullshit. I was like, what am I
And make sure that all the alley cats piss on it as well, too.
I'm going to make sure the neighbor eats it afterwards. That bitch is fucking on one. But that's a personal side note. But I'm saying, though, I was like, am I really reading this? Are we really going to, is this really on the fucking ballot? Measure 300? Fuck Measure 300. Pandemic research for advanced technologies.
And they want to charge the reefer smokers for it. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, what the fuck is that about?
Right.
You just find any way to take fucking marijuana money.
Yep.
First, the marijuana money is going to go to tutoring, and now it's going to be funding fucking advanced technologies of pathogens from the pandemic. 2 years later. 2 years later.
Fuck that one.
That's the stupidest shit I fucking read all night.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and it's an insult to the intelligence of the voters.
Yep.
Oh, it gets better. Pandemic research for pandemic preparedness, and recovery, including urban, economic, and school planning. You big eye roll right there. Provided that refunds will be dedicated entirely to the University of Colorado Denver City Center, which will be required to equitably allocate the funds, wherein 75% of the funds are limited to the three research categories of personal protective equipment, disinfection, and sterilization of technology features of physical spaces, and that 25 or percent of the funds are limited to research public policy and planning that no more than 8% of the tax revenue any year shall be spent on administrative expenses, that after 25 years, the areas of technology research to reduce the spread of pandemic pathogens may be expanded, that oversight will require annual audit and reporting equipment, and requiring that revenues from the increased taxes shall be collected and spent without regard to any expenditure revenue raising and other limitations contained within Article X, Section 20 of the Colorado Constitution or any other law. See what I'm talking about, family? Need I say that shit right here
they
reads
pissing on the people and telling them it's rain with that one.
they pray for your cognitive dissonance, family. Don't give it to them.
Right.
Gotta give it to them. They're gonna do all this 2 years after the pandemic started, only to tell us how to disinfect shit, and then use marijuana money to make sure we understand that pine saw, fucking blow your nose, cover your face, and keep your hands to yourself, and don't fucking be kissing motherfuckers, touching motherfuckers you don't know. Don't eat and drink off of motherfuckers, and if somebody has wet nose or fucking too much saliva in their mouth, don't get away from them. Shuffle back. Is that really what we're gonna be paying all this money for?
No, crash that one.
Right.
That one there stinks to high hell.
301.
Gonna take the reefer money and gonna use it to research the damn pandemic.
2 years later.
2 years later.
2 years later, okay? I mean, they got a lot of plans for this. Money. I got a lot of plans in this ballot book. Tutoring, research, pandemic research. I roll, man. Okay.
Okay, next one is 301. This is real heated. This has been real heated debate between 301 and 302.
Right.
So we're gonna go through both of them, Black family.
We're gonna tell you why we vote. Okay. All right. Shall the voters of the city and county of Denver adopt a measure the following without the approval of voters in regularly scheduled municipal or special elections, any commercial or residential development on land designated as city park and land protected by the city-owned conservation easement, except where consistent with park purposes, conservation easements purposes, or for cultural facilities, or any partial or complete cancellation of a city-owned conservation easement, unless the purpose of creating a new park. 301 is about
parks and open spaces.
Particularly
the Park Hill Golf Course.
Go ahead. Now, we've been discussing this
has
regularly.
Been really heated. So, I live in Northeast Park Hill, and in Northeast Park Hill, there's a golf course called Park Hill Golf Course, and it's been a golf course since 1997, when Mayor Webb, along with the Denver voters at the time, put a $2 million easement on the property, right? So now a developer, Westside, has come in and bought the property for almost $20 million, and they want to develop on the land. So what this is saying is that as open space, as park space. So 301 is basically saying they want to keep it as such. As it could either be a golf course or a park, but it can't be anything else. And what Black community in Northeast Park Hill is saying is no. If you're going to develop this, we want to have first say on what's developed here. 302, Babe's going to read 302 next. 302 is,
shall the voters of City and Denver, family, City and County of Denver adopt a measure to do following: amend the definition of conservation easement to apply only to conservation easements which have been reviewed and approved by the Division of Conservation, and for which an income tax credit certificate has been issued by the Division of Conservation pursuant to CRS 12-15-105 and 106, semicolon, 2, require voter approval before the city allows residential or commercial construction on city park land or city property protected by a conservation easement, with exceptions for limited construction related to recreational use, cultural facilities, construction consistent with the terms of conservation easement, and 3, require voter approval to extinguish a city-owned conservation easement. More roundabout, nefarious conversation in this shit. Go ahead, baby.
yeah. So 301, like I said, wants to keep the open space and parks for the city and county of Denver, but it wants the whole city to decide what to do with this land. So instead of leaving it up to the people in Park Hill, they want the whole city to vote on it.
Right. So they can get what they
So who is going to vote around the issues surrounding the property? 302 wants to change the definition of a conservation easement and what gets put on that piece of property. So I'm a no on 301 and I'm a yes on 302. And this has caused a lot of controversy because there's a lot of people that are like, no, we just want to keep it open space. Don't do nothing with it. Just keep it a park. And I'm like, y'all have already started developing on this already. There's already sections of this golf course that have already been developed. So with 302, a lot of people that support 302 are like, well, look, if you're going to develop this in a Black community, we want first say on what's going to be put there. And now, the Politan Group, which is headed by Norman Harris III, has 60 acres of the land, of 155 acres of land. They own 60 acres, and they want to develop it into a Black community on the property. So it's been a lot of pushback about 301 and 302. I'm in support of 302. I'm a no on 301. We have so many. It's like how many more parks do we need in the city and the state? Like we have like per capita probably the most parks per major city in this country. And if you're going to develop it, we want first say on what's going to be put there.
Right.
I'm going to read what 302, the yes on 302 says. To protect local choices and local voices. As a Denver native, I have witnessed the transformation of Northeast Park Hill from a vibrant neighborhood to one that has suffered from intentional neglect and disinvestment since the 1970s. Long-term residents like me know need to revitalize the health and wealth of this community, and our voices need to be heard. Neighborhood issues should not be subject to the will of people that do not even live in the community. Vote yes on 302. This is from Lamone Knowles, who's a good friend of mine and a Park Hill resident.
Yeah. My thoughts are this. in regards to Park Hill, the East Side, Curtis Park, um, certain parts of downtown, I would really like to stop. And me personally would really like to see the gentrification stop altogether, and let some trees have a chance to grow. However, they're not talking about environmental beautify or even adding trees. There's no fucking trees in certain areas, But when it comes to our family out there, I mean, yeah, they should be able to speak on their own community. I don't live in Park Hill no more. I'm in Aurora right now, right? But I come here. This is my second home, and I'm all through the city. So I know that my family needs a fucking store. You know what I mean? And not a Sprouts, not a motherfucking gentrified one, but one for the community. That they can regulate things like that they can take care of. Because and how else are we gonna create generational wealth? How else are we gonna fucking take care of our people if we gotta constantly be subjected to all this other shit? They need fresh things. There's a lot of need in this area of Park Hill that is being neglected. Or the people are there to what do you call it? Develop.
Yeah.
Development. Development to me only means one thing: money, and they want
You're
money
right.
out of this. And the way they keep wording this shit is like the easement. The easement. It's all about the easement. At the end of the day, it's about the fucking easement, and not about the people that it's gonna affect.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or the fact that when they had a chance to redo the motherfucking certain parts of it, they couldn't afford it. Now they can, and now there's not a lot of there's not a lot of answers for it, except they want to change it, and they want to make other communities such as other what what's the Cherry Creek is gentrified.
Yeah.
Other areas to vote on what goes on in Park
With
Hill.
Cherry Creek. Yeah, we don't decide what happens
We
with
don't
Cherry
decide
Creek.
what happens to Cherry Creek. No one decides what happens with Cherry Creek. Unless it's on an actual motherfucking vote like this. And it's really controversial because they say if you don't live there, you can't really speak on it. I would say I live here in Park Hill part time, so a little bit of me wants to speak on it, and I'm all through that motherfucking area. I patrol that area too, so I know what it's like to see the people there that they want. It's not just people. We're not talking. We're talking about black people in general.
Right.
They watch their areas just get gentrified, and then being pushed out of everything, of their own areas, their own neighborhood. They're like historic Five Points isn't historic Five Points. It's not historically black anymore. That was like the past. It's now almost all white. You know what I mean?
Damn, sounds like West Oakland.
Yes.
Yeah, when we had our Juneteenth, I was just telling my sister Bianca, I was telling her, I said that wasn't Juneteenth, that was white Juneteenth
Right.
for a celebration of fucking symbolism or something. That's 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that shit was. If you looked at the people that came to Juneteenth to celebrate Norman Harris's fucking accomplishments, that was his shit. We'll go ahead and say that was white Juneteenth. Doesn't count. You know what I mean? All the historically black areas are now being moved. They're not even being moved. They're being wiped out.
Right.
So I would say that this is the one thing that they're actively trying to hold on to.
Right.
So we
This
should
is
let
the
them have it.
Alamo.
This is the Alamo. Yeah, this is one thing they need to hold on to. They need to keep their fucking voices, and they need a fucking grocery store. They need a whole bunch of shit for them, and we do it as a family, man. Like, can't let these motherfuckers just because they got money buy up everything and change it all around. So where's our culture? And it can't all be at the cultural center.
Right.
Right.
Real shit. It cannot all be at the cultural center. It's the cultural center and fucking certain parts of the valley. The last place where we have our fucking shit at. Please, man. That's me just saying that. I'm watching this shit happen. And it upsets me, it hurts my soul.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to go. I vote with whatever Jesse just said. What was it? No.
No on 301. Yes on
No
302.
301, yes on 302, or we need to have. They the people of that area where that course is need to have a say. What's his face? His father's house was just demolished, right?
Yeah.
Right around the corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They just demolished the whole house earlier this summer. That was like right around the corner
Mm-hmm.
of that, just to build an apartment complex on that lot. That's where his stupid father's house got demolished. They're not. Lot was like the biggest lot on the whole block. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Sorry, my neighbor is throwing shit over the balcony. Um, the next one is 303, and this is another bullshit measure. Go ahead, baby.
Shall the voters of the city and county of Denver adopt an ordinance requiring the city and county of Denver to enforce unauthorized camping, providing a private enforcement in the city, fail to enforce authorized camping, allowing the city to establish up to 4 authorized camp locations on public property, which the city must provide running water, restroom facility, lighting funding, camping locations, city revenue to support the city's homeless population. Oh my God, this is my.
Yeah. So basically, with these bastards, we already have an urban camping ban, right, Shabaka and Ramel? We
Yeah.
have an urban camping ban, which I've stated on numerous shows that makes it illegal for you to survive on the streets of Denver. You can be arrested, ticketed, or harassed just for covering yourself with a tent, a tarp, a sleeping bag. Anything besides your own clothing is deemed illegal, right? So
Damn.
we had a lawsuit. We had a lawsuit about 2 years ago, Lyle versus Denver. I believe it was
Hmm.
Lyle versus Denver, where they have to give 7 days notice before they sweep an encampment. So
Right. To give
with this
people time to move their stuff.
right. So what this measure does is it limits it to 3 days. So you'll have 3 days to vacate the premises and to vacate the area before you get swept. Now this goes against a federal class action lawsuit. So the
Okay.
people that are behind are trying to overturn the class action lawsuit that was passed in 2019, which made it where you have to give 7 days notice before you sweep an encampment.
Mhm.
Go ahead, baby.
All right, so this is my topic. Always is the one thing I actually do. I really do give a fuck about. So I'm gonna go ahead and um, I voted no, right? Yeah, I voted no. I had to make sure I voted no. Um, because the wording is a lot for me to fucking to say Black Valley. So I'm just gonna say no. Let me tell you why. First of all, it is fucking dangerous that they put enforcement campers, the enforcement encampment team or whatever the fuck they're called.
Enforcement team.
Yeah, the
Street enforcement team.
yeah, the street enforcement team, the deputized civilians, which I will get into thoroughly on my program on the revolutionary agenda. We don't have time to get into it tonight. We're going to try to stick to topic. But I was trying to get into it last Thursday. Was unable. This Thursday, though, I'll make it a very good priority to get to that shit. Um, what I'm going to say about it is that, first of all, City Council, the Denver Task Force, everybody who thought this was a motherfucking grandiose idea was greatest shit ever, fucking stupid. You put people in danger, average civilians, they're in danger. That anybody knock on anybody's tent could get fucked up, and that's just them. Okay, they know what they're doing. They read the rules. They put their lives in their own hands. All right. Well, first of all, there's already like 3 or 4 SOS camps. Those are the safe outdoor spaces. There was a stolen idea from Jerry Burton. Get into that on Thursday. Um,
Mm.
Basically, this is just another way of them trying to address the housing situation in the worst way.
Right.
So we voted no on that. Voted no on that because the city voters This is just one. If we give them any way to reappeal, like the group living, or even if they get to vote on this one, this is just a way for them to reappeal the camping ban and shit like that.
This is just a way
to take over everything,
to overthrow
the
everything. Class action lawsuit.
Right, and we don't want that. What we want is housing for everybody. We want housing for
Right.
everybody. We want it to be. Doesn't matter what motherfucking neighborhood these SOS camps go. It's all about the people who put them up. You know,
And they don't even say where these safe storage camps are gonna be.
they don't even say where they're
They
going
just
to
said
be.
the city's gonna produce 4 of them.
4 of them. They already got the 4 right now.
So they want to create an additional 4, but they won't tell you where they're gonna be.
Right, which is going to cause problems later on down the line with NIMBYism and the people who already. This is just one aspect. This is not like every time something goes up, like a new fucking halfway house or any type of jail or anything like this. This is the type of shit that they write about, and it's fucked
Not
up.
in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. And you got motherfuckers talking about all the homeless people. They don't want to see needles. They don't want to see, they got all these prerequisites. You know what I mean?
Look, they say shit like Denver is facing a public health and safety emergency
Right.
with homeless campsites being set up across the city in spaces that lack facilities to humanely accommodate overnight stays, improving accountability for supporting basic humane services at city-sponsored encampments for those experiencing homelessness is the aim of homelessness compassion and safety initiative.
Yeah,
That's a damn lie.
We don't want to hear like us. We don't want to hear the words compassion. The guy what this says compassionate. 10 cities with no services are not beneficial or respectful to anyone, especially those experiencing homelessness. The Homelessness Compassion and Safety Initiative. What is that? They don't have no compassion. These people always talking about Denver's a compassionate city.
Huh.
Well, if it is, why the fuck are these people shaming homeless people all the time?
Right.
Or threatening them, or burning down tents?
Yeah.
Tents just caught fire earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And then they got the enforcement team passing out notices
Eviction
to
notices.
evict them, and will tell them they're okay, meaning they treat them like they're human beings. A lot of the family, if you haven't been paying attention when I'm doing these sweeps, a lot of these sweeps that I'm going to are in the east side, and they're black.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they're happening to black people. Yes, I'm all for the homeless people, period. That's a humanitarian issue. But I didn't mean to say but. And our family is out there. Like family. So I don't want to hear these language like this. They say compassionate, Denver, promote safety and citizens' rights. What about the homeless safety and citizen rights? They're only really about the people that live in houses and
Yeah, because they pay taxes too.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the homeless rights and their safety? They're not safe from these fucking people that come over there and terrorize them. They're not. They're not safe from city council allowing bigotry and white supremacy to be spoken about them on a fucking regular Monday evening, every Monday evening, where they can sit there and cry. This one lady cried and said her back hurts, and she's stuck in there, and she's traumatized and all this extra shit. One dude's taking pictures.
White tears matter.
White tears and white lives matter. That you could get anywhere with it with them, and this lady was boo-hooing. 9 minutes, family. 9 minutes of white people crying is what me and Jesse had to endure. Okay?
Last Monday.
9 minutes. That's 3 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, and they let him go, and then I went in on him, and when I went in, I was going in, and they muted me.
Mm-hmm. They cut you off.
They muted me, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. Like, I'm about to mute this bitch next door. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're against this measure for all the reasons Bay just stated. And in addition, this initiative was paid for by a dark money group, so you don't know where the money's coming from behind the people that put this initiative. And it's lack of transparency. So dark money, for those that don't understand, is money that comes from an unknown source.
Oh man, I clapped when the lady when that we were at a forum, a Zoom meeting, and the lady said she accepted dark money. I
Yeah,
clapped. I clapped for that shit because that's the first time I ever heard somebody actually admit the shit. And I was like, for real? I was clapping so hard. I was like, somebody had the integrity to say that they could be bought.
yeah. So Initiative 303 would require the city and county of Denver to fund and establish up to 4 unauthorized neighborhood homeless camps. The measure provides no details or guidance to where these sites will be located or how the sites will be determined. Additionally, Initiative 303 would require the city to clean and close unauthorized homeless encampments within 72 hours of filing or receiving a complaint, in direct violation of the federal court order that requires 7 days notice for the removal of such camps. If the city does not address an encampment within 72 hours, a class action would be filed against the city in court. So more lawsuits, Black family. Initiative
Yeah.
303 will likely cost tens of millions of dollars to implement. One, millions of dollars would be required for legal fees to determine the legality of Initiative 303 with the inconsistencies of the court order 7 day minimum notice and the 72-hour requirement under Initiative 303. Additionally, the city will defend itself in all the civil actions that will be brought when the 72-hour deadline cannot be met. Two, millions of dollars would be reallocated in the city's budget out of areas like road maintenance, parks and rec, and into city and into the Denver Police Department to meet the requirements of Initiative 303. Three, millions of dollars would also be spent establishing and operating the 4 authorized neighborhood homeless camps. Denver cannot afford the potential illegal, misguided, and costly Initiative 303. Instead, we must remain focused on funding the initiatives that are working to humanely help our unhoused neighbors in their time of need and during a pandemic.
Right. Exactly.
So we're 303. And did y'all have any thoughts on 303?
No, I have no comments on it.
Okay.
How many's left, baby?
One.
Okay. Only one more left,
No.
Twinsy. That's it. One more left. Okay. All right.
Initiative 304.
Yeah. Shall the voters in city, county of Denver adopt an ordinance reducing the total sales and use tax levied in the city and county of Denver from 4.81 to 4.5, settling the a great total sales and use taxes levied at 4.5, or requiring that if any election the people of the city and county of Denver pass a special sales and use tax that exceeds a great 4.5%, the city must adjust the existing tax levy to comply with 4.5% as a great. What the fuck does a great mean, babe?
A great
Yeah.
aggregate.
Aggregate. The city must adjust the existing tax levy to comply with the 4.5% aggregate.
That basically means the money from one space to another. So, in regards to 304, it's a costly measure. It's going to cost the city millions of dollars on top of millions of dollars. Denver City Council has already said that it's not gonna work. It's just too costly. So even the Denver City Council is against this measure, and I can state many reasons why. Denver voters must say no to Initiative 304. This measure would require an immediate cut of up to 80 million from the city's budget, threatening critical services and vital employee positions. The 80
Mm-hmm.
million reduction would not for just it would rack it down for the next 2 years, likely forcing the city to look for other revenue sources, such as fees or property tax, to restore and maintain services. To understand, to understand the significant impact to Denver, 80 million, 80 million, 80 million represents the equivalent of the annual budgets for the entire Denver public library system, planning the department and the Office of the Independent Monitor. The initiative's most draconian provision is the reduction of the city's sales tax from 4.81% to 4.5%. That reduction would defund essential services at a time when Denver is doing everything possible to recover from the pandemic. It would harm Denver's ability to repair our roads, maintain our parks, and protect people against crime, fires, and other emergencies. To balance its budget, the city would have to reduce funding for dedicated programs for homelessness, mental health, preschool, and college affordability that are funded through sales tax dollars previously approved by Denver voters. That's not what Denver voters wanted when they authorized these critical services. Passing Initiative 304 would mean fewer kids being helped by our naturally recognized Denver preschool program, fewer high schoolers going to college, and fewer people getting the behavioral health support they desperately need. Additionally, Initiative 304 was placed on the ballot without consulting with the mayor, city council, community, and business leaders and other stakeholders working to strengthen Denver and serve our residents and neighborhoods. Clearly, 304 does not address any tax or policy concerns that have been identified by Denver's elected leaders, senior city staff, business leaders, and or citizen and nonprofit groups. It's simply unnecessary and deserves a no vote. As Denver works to strengthen its post-pandemic economy and grapple with significant issues impacting residents and local businesses, we cannot afford to pass this unnecessary and dangerous ballot initiative. For the safety of our city, for the future of our children and families, and for our community members who need support and help, vote no on 304.
Mm-hmm. I
So
say
even the
vote no
city is
on
like,
it.
yes.
Yep.
Now the city was yes on everything else, but they're a hell no on this.
Yeah. And we're gonna head into our closing statements. That was our uh,
Our synopsis of the Denver
synopsis
ballot.
of the Denver ballot.
All right.
Go ahead, Shabaka. You can do your closing statement, and then Ramel, and then
All right.
thank you.
Yeah, definitely check with us on Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced coming up this Tuesday. We're gonna have a title there. Spoke with the Anchorman about it, and it's about the plight to destroy our black boys in their formative years. An endangered species. Our black youth. And
Yes.
I'm Shabaka Corey. Speaking for Frontline Black News.
Go ahead, Ramel.
Yeah, it's from saying from frontlinecampaign.org, Frontline Black News, the Revolutionary Agenda, and Shabbat Black Experience Enhanced from way back when to way back now. And I just want to say support your community, support people who are homeless, support your fellow man, woman, and child that are in the struggle. Now's the time for us to stick together, unite, and, work with each other, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we all we got at the end of the day, you know? That's all I want to say. Thank you.
I'm going to say this. Support the homeless, the communities around it. Fuck these buffer little section zones and whatever fucking communist shit they're trying to fucking promote. You know, that's just not the way fucking Colorado should be ran anyway. They want to create all these zones and fucking it's just a lot of bullshit, and it's a lot of buyer's remorse. You know what I mean? And it's not the right thing for the people. For multiple people living in one space. It's the Mile High Income City, and it's named that for a motherfucking reason. We can't afford to live here. No one can afford to live here. It's barely. I don't. They're counting on all this tax tourism dollars to repay promises and shit that on properties that are allegedly supposed to generate all this extra money, and they're using the money from marijuana to do a whole bunch of other shit. And it's gonna raise taxes. It's not gonna decrease shit. Everything's just fucked. It's all deceptive. It's all nefarious. And until you have somebody or a few people, be able to read it and acknowledge it and decipher the material, this is very confusing for everybody. So, everybody who's going to vote this term right here, hopefully you've got enough knowledge now, and you're able to make the most appropriate vote for your community, for your people, and mostly us as Black family. Please, if you're not up to par on the knowledge that's going on, get up to date right now, like right now, and vote. If you're gonna vote, vote on the right things. But if you're confused, fuck it, don't vote. You know what I mean? Don't vote on certain measures if you're confused about them. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it is confusing. It's designed to be confusing. It's designed to be treacherous fucking material. So, all I gotta say is that, and please watch our other programming, which is Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, on Tuesdays on Blog Talk Radio, where I myself am a regular participant. Che co-hosting, and the anchorman, Mr. Ramel Understanding. Also, the Revolutionary Agenda, where we try to tackle other topics. We don't tackle all too much here on both of the other platforms. Revolutionary Agenda comes on Thursdays at 4, and it's a lengthy program. Also, frontlinecampaign.org. Like, subscribe, do what you guys do. Donate to the Cash App if you can. Not no biggie. We're gonna make it regardless. And just keep in mind, family, we just want you to we want to educate you. You don't have to vote like we vote, but actually, I don't mean to say but. If you don't have to vote like we do, and we hope that you are educated, and we hope that we got the message across clearly and concisely with what's going on in this damn ballot book. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sitting through this, and thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Shabaka, for coming on, and thank you, Ramel, for your participation and help and support in our platforms.
Right. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in to episode 33 of the Frontline Black News. We'll be back next Saturday with a brand new episode 34. Hopefully we helped you fill out the ballot. Make sure you turn your ballots in if you're going to mail them by October 25th. You can drop them off at any of the ballot sites in your neighborhood by November 2nd. So peace, love, and Black empowerment. We're out.